Breaking news. A black man babysitting two white kids had the cops called on him and was questioned by the police. You're probably waiting for the rest of the story, like, oh, well, what did this guy do that was suspicious? Or had the children been reported missing? Or was the black man seen beating the white kids in public? There's no more story. Like, I've told you the whole story. A black guy was babysitting two white kids, and the police were called by a white woman in Georgia who called and said, there's a black man with two white kids. Come talk to the black guy, apparently is what she said. She saw them outside of a Walmart in Cobb County. The man's name is Corey Lewis. He's the black babysitter who was asked by the woman to speak to the children. The guy said what most parents or caretakers or guardians would say if a random stranger comes up to you in a parking lot and says, I want to talk to these kids you're with. He said, no. And you can't talk to these kids. So she called the cops, followed the guy in her vehicle as he left the Walmart parking lot. Police officer shows up, talks to the guy, talks to the kids, calls their parents, and the parents say, yeah, the black guy's our friend, and he's babysitting our kids. The mother is named Dana Mango. I kind of like that last name. Maybe it's because I love mango so much, but I like that last name, Mango.
You could be David Mango.
I actually, the David Mango show has a nice ring to it. Dana Mango said to local news station WGCL that the police officer straight up told her the black guy was questioned because we received a call about a black man driving around two white kids. That was the basis for the call. And there's an article in People about this. The mom said, I asked the police officer, are you telling me that because there's an African-American male driving my two white kids, he was stopped and questioned by police? And the officer said, I'm sorry, ma'am. That's exactly what I'm saying. We have video of this.
She saw you at
Take a look.
Walmart.
I was at Walmart, yeah. I got two kids I'm babysitting. We ate at Subway at Walmart. Went and got some gas. She pulled up talking about are the kids okay? Why wouldn't they be okay? No one's yelling, no one's screaming, no one's trying to run away. She left, came back, and asked to see the little girl so she can ask her if she know who I am.
Yeah.
All right? And then I went over to get some gas at Murphy's.
Okay.
She came back there and stayed there.
Echo Lima, India 00.
You mind if I talk to him?
That's crazy.
I know, but you mind if I do?
I mean, why?
So what you heard at the end, first you heard a black guy just explaining why it's not a concern of law enforcement that a black man is with two white kids, right? That's the context. That's what this guy was explaining. They're with me. They know me. Nothing's going on. They're not screaming. They're not crying. At the end, what you hear is the officer insisting on talking to the kids. And Corey Lewis says, that's crazy. Nothing's going on here. And the cop insists on talking to the kids. We're not going to, even though the video is out there, I don't want to put the kids in the video. Okay. So we're going to skip past that. The officer in the interim time that we're skipping over has spoken to the kids, which I don't want to include. And then this is sort of how the thing wraps up, just the last few seconds of this video.
No, I'm letting the world know like what's really going on. It's 2018. I can't even step out into the community without being profiled.
Okay, dude, I'm not doing anything. I'm not.
Right.
It's just a call we get. All right.
That's ridiculous.
It is what it is.
The guy was babysitting while black. Yeah. Babysitting while black is what was going on here.
I suppose the cop did an okay job here. He is responding to a call after all, so he has to interview some people. My biggest takeaway, though, was the cop seemed very unenthused by the whole thing. Like, maybe he should find another profession because he just didn't seem very into it.
I want to think about another element of this. How would the woman who called the police have reacted if a random person came up to her at Walmart and demanded to speak to her kids, as if that's a normal thing to do? If random strangers come up to most parents and totally out of context say, I'd like to speak to your children, most parents would say no. This is just racism. It's racial prejudice. We don't need to do an overly complex analysis of what's going on here. And in fact, if I was the babysitter, I would have called the police. He's being confronted by a stranger in a public place. He is at this point, he's in charge of these kids. He's the guardian for these kids. Stranger is confronting him and demanding to speak to those children. He doesn't know who she is. And then she follows him home in a vehicle, which is intimidatory without question. I actually have a friend who's black here in Massachusetts, and his wife is white, and they have 2 kids. And one of the kids looks much more Caucasian,
Yep.
whatever we, imagine, interpret that however you want, than the other. He's never been confronted by anybody, but he has told me stories of perceiving tension and sort of strange looks when he's with just like the more Caucasian looking kid without the wife. And that's Massachusetts. So imagine what it's like in places like Georgia and Mississippi and other parts of the country.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, and you'd have to imagine that this woman isn't calling the cops anytime she sees kids with parents of
Of
any
course
color.
not.
Like if it's white kids with white parents, she's not calling the cops.
No.
If it's black kids with black parents, she's not calling the cops.
I assume.
This is the only scenario where
This
she
is the
decides
scenario,
to call the cops.
right? If she saw, I don't know, a white parent, a white adult with 2 Asian kids, is she calling the cops? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think she is. Send me your thoughts about this story. Make sure that you're following The David Pakman Show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. We have a great behind-the-scenes picture that we're going to be posting of what the setup around me looks like, and just kind of like a zoomed out, it's a kind of a shot where you don't see what's going on around me, but we have actually a picture we're going to be posting where you will see it. So follow the show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. Follow me on Instagram at david.pakman. Yesterday, I was actually interviewed for a very interesting documentary film about the current administration, and I posted some behind-the-scenes pictures of that. A very, very compelling stuff happening on Instagram is the point. We'll take a quick break. Back after this with Nathan J. Robinson. Very, very interesting. Today's program brought to you in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. Blinkist is a great service that I use all the time. What they do is they take thousands of the most popular nonfiction books, including the newest bestsellers. They condense them into 15-minute audiobooks that you can listen to, and you still get the most crucial information and insights from each book. And I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. I recently checked out Soccernomics by Simon Cooper. We do have, after all, the World Cup going on recently. We also have been talking about BS Jobs, and there is a great new book, BS Jobs by David Graeber, which I listen to on Blinkist. They're constantly adding new books to the platform. You will never run out of fascinating and critically acclaimed books to enjoy. And our audience can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm putting a link in the video description. And after the free trial, if you like it, you can continue enjoying thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. That's BLINKIST.com/PAKMAN.